Hey everyone, Simon here with a long overdue update. I must have been a couple of months ago that I made my last video, and a lot has changed. It is the new year, it's 2024, and I want to welcome you and share a video with you that hopefully will give you some value all the way through 2024 and into the rest of your life, hopefully, on how to attune yourself to your dharma in every aspect of your life. What I mean by that is, in astrology, we have 12 houses, 12 signs. They each relate to a particular aspect of your life. And there is a way to optimize each of those bhavas or houses. And I'm going to share that with you today. I've shared bits and pieces of it in different interviews and so forth, but I'm going to give you the essence of it now. And so, what does that mean? If you want to improve your relationships or to optimize your dharma, your the natural progression of your relationships as is given to you in your life, right? We have to do the best with what we're given, make the best of what we're given, and to do that in relationships, in your career, in your finances, in your children, in your relationship with children. So we'll talk about how to do that for each one of those. And yeah, let's dive right into it. So let's see. Boom. So I've talked about this before, and in Vedic astrology is both descriptive and prescriptive, which means that half of your session with a competent practitioner will be about describing your situation. And if they accurately describe your situation, whatever that means to you, they tell you how many brothers and sisters you have, or how many times you've been married and divorced, or the type of work you do, or that you had kidney stones 3 years ago, or whatever it is, and however whatever techniques that particular practitioner uses to show you they know what they're talking about, that proves that, hey, they know what they're doing in reading my chart, then you can trust them with the prescriptive part, right? So the first part is descriptive. It says, oh, okay, you you're probably a computer engineer, you graduated from school with a with a master's or higher, you blah, 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 right? We can estimate some of these things depending on what our skill level is as practitioners. So I might be really good at telling you how many brothers and sisters you have. I'm not. That's not my thing. Another astrologer might be good at telling you, other things about you, like even anatomical stuff. Like some astrologer be like, you have a mole on your left side, and you check, and yep, I have a mole on my left side. So we all have little secret techniques and not so secret techniques that we've developed to give us access to the chart. And that's what makes this science great, because even I'm excited to go see other practitioners because they have a way of looking at my chart, which I've looked at a million times, with fresh eyes and using fresh techniques. So it's always fun. Although, to be honest, I really don't go much anymore. I don't think I've seen an astrologer in years. So I just contradicted what I was saying there. But I am still excited in theory to see practitioners. In fact, that's not true. A year ago, last year, I saw a Nadi astrologer, and they gave me prescriptions, right? And they do the same thing. So in Nadi astrology, the first part is descriptive. You have this many brothers and sisters, blah, blah, blah. The second part is prescriptive. This is what you need to do to optimize your life. So, yeah, that's actually kind of the model. So if the first part doesn't go well, then you have no business giving prescriptions to that person because you haven't locked on to their chart. But if the first part does go well and the client trusts you, or you are the client and you'd like to learn more about yourself and how to improve stuff, then you listen to the prescription. So here we go. What am I talking about? One of the prescriptions of which there are many. There are gemstones. There are certain practices. I'm wearing a gemstone here. When it comes to gemstones, um, there are, tons of prescriptions, but generally speaking, you can wear the stone of your ascendant ruler. Not a bad idea. Of course, it gets much more complicated than that, but that's not what I'm talking about here. There are certain karmas you can do. What does that mean? Feeding people. This is probably the best remedy, all around remedy for anyone. Feeding people. And by feeding people, it doesn't mean your kids or your husband or your wife. It means people whom you don't get anything back from feeding. People you don't know, people who are less advantaged than you. Don't go to the millionaire's party and bring a potluck and that's feeding people. No, you're not feeding people. They're okay. They can feed themselves. Feeding those who can't feed themselves. Um, Mr. Mantri used to say that that was the greatest spiritual practice one could do. Just feed people, right? It just transcends everything: personality, politics, nationality, gender, you name it, age. Just feed people. So that is a karma yoga you can do regardless of what I'm going to talk about here. And then if you want to get specific about it, you can talk about what day do you want to feed them on? Well, feed them every day if you can. Okay, if you can't do it every day, what about Saturdays? Saturday is, right, the Lord of Karma. So Saturday is the default good day. But what if you have a difficult sun in your chart? Then Sunday would be good. What if you have a difficult moon in your chart? Then Monday would be good. And if you want to cover all your bases, then all 7 days of the week you can feed people. All right. So in terms of karma yoga, so gems, you can do gems, but that is a kind of Raja yoga or Raja upaya. It's really for the wealthy. Karma yoga is for everyone. And here is what I'm going to talk about today is mantra upasana, which is the practice of mantra. Now, it's not for everyone, and not everyone is going to feel super successful with it, but try it. My recommendation, and I'm not a financial analyst, or what do they call it? This is not financial advice. This is not spiritual advice, is try a little bit of everything. That's my approach. So try, some gemstones if you can, try some mantras if you can, see what really works for you, see what sticks for you. That's my approach. And I know that without looking at your chart and without knowing exactly what would be really specifically good for you, that's my recommendation, is try a few things and see what sticks. This may not stick for you, right? But if it does, you will see the effects. All right, so what am I talking about? I am talking about the Vishnu Sahasranama. These are the 1,000 names of Vishnu. And I'm not talking about the Vishnu Sahasranama Avali, which is what this is, which is a big, long, fancy Sanskrit word that says each one of those names are followed by Namaha. Om Vishwasmai Namaha, Om Vishnave Namaha, Om Vashatkaraya Namaha, Om Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhave Namaha, Om Bhuta Grade Namaha, Om Bhuta Vrade Namaha, Om Bhavaya Namaha, Om Bhutatmane Namaha, Om Bhuta Bhavanaya Namaha, Om Bhutatmane Namaha. Like that, 1,000 times, right? All the names. Now, this is not what I'm talking about today, but wow, that is a powerful, already I'm boom. That is a powerful mantra. If you can do all of it, that is a prescription that I picked up from K.N. Rao for all astrologers. If you're an astrologer, you should be doing the Vishnu Sahasranama Avali, according to Mr. K.N. Rao, every day. Now, it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to complete this, depending on how fast you go. The speed I was going, probably 30 minutes, maybe even less. But you want to plan on at least 45 minutes. And it takes energy and focus and concentration, and plus a little bit of knowledge of how to pronounce these. So practice. But this is not the remedy I'm talking about. This is a remedy if you are planning to become a Jyotishi, an astrologer. And according to Mr. Rao, a Jyotishi, in order to protect themselves, in order to invite invite better intuition to flow through them and protection and so forth, this is a A1 practice. Okay. However, as a remedy for everyday folks, it's the Vishnu Sahasranama shloka, the verses that I'm talking about. Okay. There are 108 verses, and they correspond to the 108 navamshas of the horoscope. As you know, there are 9 navamshas in every sign in each Rashi. As you can see, I'm going through here. 9 times 12 is 108. So the first navamsha of Aries is shloka 1. And then the last navamsha of Pisces is shloka 108. So depending on where you have cusps and planets, you perform that shloka. Okay. So for example, if your ascendant is at, as here, right in this chart, 8 degrees Taurus, Kritika, okay, that would be the 12th shloka. How do I know that? Because 9 have gone by in Aries, right? 9. And we are in the first, second, third navamsha of Taurus. Now, how do I know it's the third navamsha? Each one is 3 degrees, 20 minutes. So you just add them up, 320, 640, 10. So this 8 degrees falls between 640 and 10. Therefore, it's in the third navamsha. Okay? And you can get pretty good at just figuring it out. So if I want to do the shloka for the ascendant, it would be the 12th shloka. So let's go and find that. And now, a little bit of warning here. I'm not talking about the invocation. Om Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. We're not talking about that, right? This is the invocations. You want to skip down, go through this. By the way, when you do the whole thing, you can still do this. They're beautiful shlokas. And the beginning of this is just some of the best literature ever. Shrutva dharmana sheshena pavanani cha sarvasha yudhishthira shantanavam punarevabhyabhashatam kimekam daivatam loke kim vapyekam parayanam stuvantah kam kamarchantah prapnuyurmanava shubham. Says, I've read all the spiritual books, all the books. What do I got to do? Who is that one being whom I should worship in order to get the highest good? Like, no bullshit, man. Come on. I've gone through everything. I don't want riffraff. Give me the essence. And he goes on, who is which dharma of all the dharmas is the best? Like, what is that practice that I should do among all other practices that's the best? And then Bhishma, who is sitting there dying, right? He's pierced with arrows, but he has the power to control his prana and to dictate when that prana leaves. So he's lying there on a bed of pierced with arrows, somewhat a Christ-like figure, you may even say, although his life was very different. And Yudhishthira is asking him, hey, before you go, man, I've read everything. I am desperate. It's almost a little bit like a Bhagavad Gita in a sense that Arjuna is asking Krishna. Here it's Yudhishthira, Arjuna's brother, asking Bhishma, what do I do? And so Bhishma then tells him, you should do the Vishnu Sahasranama. But these are not the verses I'm talking about because these are the invocation. You can see it ends at verse 22, and then there's some ritual stuff which you don't have to worry about. Adhyanam, nyasa. Only if you're a priest you need to do this. You really don't need to do this. Karanyasa, and the dhyanam is good to do because it puts you in that place, but I only do this verse. Shantakaram bhujagashayanam padmanabham suresham vishvadharam gaganasandrisham meghavarnam shubhangam lakshmikantam kamalanayanam yogibhirdhyanagamyam vande vishnum bhavabhayaharam sarvalokaikanaatham. You can start with that invocation and then go into the verses. But that's if you're doing the whole thing. If you're just doing the upaya, which I'm talking about, you start with the first verse, okay? The actual Sahasranama. So the first verse is Vishvam Vishnurvashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu, and so Bhuta Krit Bhuta Bhridbhavo Bhutatma Bhuta Bhavanaha. I can't stop it just in the middle. So if you have something from 0 Aries to 3 degrees 20 Aries, this is the verse for you. But we said verse 12, right? So let's go to verse 12. Here it is. Aha. Vasuhu vasumanaha satyah samatma asammitah samaha amogah pundarikaksho vrishakarma vrishakritihi. So there's a lot of wordplay here on the word sama, asama, samatma, asammitaha. And yeah, so if your ascendant is here, it would be cool if you have the sound sam in your name. If your name is Sam or Prasanna or Samatma, I don't know, something, right? With some. This is a little secret, especially if you're in the Vaishnavite lineage, but you don't have to be. I'm not officially in any lineage, but you can use these verses, the verse of your ascendant, to find names for people, because these are sounds that resonate with your ascendant. So Vrish, for example, Vrishakarma, Vasur, Vasumana, Vasu. You can Vasu, Samatma, Asammita, Sama, Sam, right? Even if it's an English name, Sammy. Anyway, so this is how you find the verses. So if we go back to the chart now, and let's say we want to find the verse placement for the moon. We'll just do a couple examples and I'll give you the method. So the moon then, how do we find that? Well, the moon here, and I'm using the South Indian because it's more useful for this. You can use any method of calculating it. Each sign has 9 Navamshas, right? So we can just go 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54. So 54 have gone by, and now the moon is somewhere between 54 and 63. So based on its position, I'm going to go 54 is the end of Virgo. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60, 61. This will be verse 61. All right. Now, if you're having trouble calculating it, just stop the video and think it through. There are 9 divisions in each sign. 9 here, 9 here, 9 here, right? Each division is 3 degrees, 20 minutes. And it goes 320, 640, 10. 320, 640, 10. 320, 640, 10. And that's one sign. And once you get the hang of that, you can figure it out. So the moon is in the 7th Navamsha of Libra here. So which verse did I say? I think 61, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. Yeah, 61. So let's go down to verse 61. Now, this is a site I pulled just on a search online, right? It's not my site. It's not a site that I associated with. You can go to any Vishnu Sahasranama site, or you can buy a book and have these handy, right? Or just put it in your phone as a PDF. All right, so let's go to verse 61 and let's just sound it out. Now, if you're having trouble sounding it out, there are sites, there YouTube. You can listen to shlokas on the Vishnu Sahasranama on YouTube. If you really need help, then I'm thinking of doing like a membership on YouTube, like for $1.99 a month, like super cheap for people who want to be able to ask questions and are, that I can tell are dedicated. I'm thinking of doing that. And then you can ask a question and go, hey, can you do a video where you pronounce these, and of course, my pronunciation isn't the same as, say, a pundit in South India or in Kerala. Everyone has their accent, by the way, right? Kerala has an accent, North India, East India, and so forth. They all have accents. So there is no, I don't know if there is a standard Sanskrit pronunciation. Probably there is, yeah. But like in the US, Colorado, Arizona, kind of standard American English. You get to California and it's a little bit valley. You get to the East Coast, it's a little bit rough. Anyway, so but I'd be happy to word them out for you. And so we'll see. We'll see if I do that. If there's enough, maybe leave a comment and go, yeah, I really love that. I'd love to pay $1.99 a month and be able to ask questions and stuff. So okay, so this one is Sudanva Khanda Parashur Daruno Dravena Pradak Divas Prik Sarva Drigvyaso Vachaspatirayo Nijaha. That's a good one. You have Dravina Prada, the one who gives money. Khanda Parashur, the broken axe. This refers to Parashurama and Sudhanva, he with the very strong bow, who is a good bowman. Divasprik. Anyway, so this is a powerful one, but right, this is a good one, particularly if you want to promote this idea of that. Hey, I want the God in my life who's a giver of goods, of goodness, of wealth. Dravina Prada. This is exactly what it's saying. Anyway, and so you'll probably resonate with the verse if your sensitive point is on that verse. You'd be amazed. Like even the one where your seventh cusp falls will often describe aspects of your partner. In previous videos, I've talked about, I'm going to go on a little tangent here. How do you know if you've spotted the right partner? Well, one very loosey-goosey but cool and inspiring technique is look at the drekana on your seventh cusp. Aha. And what does it describe? So in this case, the drekana is the 10-degree span, and there are 3 per sign. So here we have, so it'll be the first drekana of Scorpio. First drekana of Scorpio, if you look it up, is a woman, naked woman, or it could be, right? So don't worry about the gender, right? It is a naked person of the gender you're attracted to, but classically, it's a naked woman, beautiful, who's coming out of the ocean, carrying seashells and stuff, who has just completed a long journey. That might tell us some things. Maybe a foreign person, right? Completed a long journey, or they're from another land, or they're from across the pond somehow. B, nakedness could mean poor, but they're carrying things that are valuable. So they may be poor, they may look poor, but have inner wealth. They may be somehow involved in maybe in the movie business or in the sex business, or be sexually somehow attractive or a model, whatever, because they're a beautiful person. I'd have to look up some other definitions of that. But that drekana that's on your seventh cusp. So you can do this for, there are 36 Drekenas. Well, Simon, does that mean there are only 36 kinds of people? Well, no. I mean, there you can use any amount of categories. You could say there, you know, one type of people, humans. Oh, two type of people, male, female. Three type of people, male, female, and gender nonconforming. Oh, four type of, right? You categories are so many. There's Vata, Pitta, Kapha, right? There's 5 Dharma types. There's 16 or however many there are Myers-Briggs subtypes. There are 9 Enneagram types, right? So you can classify people in many ways. Each of those classifications has a utility. It is useful to know whether you're human or not in certain contexts, right? Whether you're male or female. Which bathroom do you use at the airport? It's useful to know that. Or if you're neither. So these 36 Drekenas have a use. And one of those uses are to describe both you, so the Drekana that you were born under, your ascendant, and that of your partner. Anyway, that was a tangent. Has nothing to do with this topic, but when it comes, it comes. So someone had to hear this, and I hope that's okay. All right, so how do we use this method? Here's where we get serious. We're about what, I don't know, 30 minutes into this. So someone put timestamps, please, to help others who just want to get to the essence. All right, here's the technique. The most important cusp of the horoscope is the ascendant, because that is you. So for health and wellness, personality development, personal development, do the shloka of your ascendant. So I spent a little time on this one, right? It was number 12. So if this is your chart, this happens to be just a chart of today. It's January 6, 2024. But if you were born today, or if this is your shloka, whatever shloka it is, find the one for your ascendant, do it. Now, how often do I do it? Do it every day. How many times do I do it? You don't have to be crazy with this. You don't have to do it 108 times. 108, you might as well just repeat the whole Vishnu Sahasranama, right? And repeat each verse once, because then you cover your entire chart. You can do it 9 times. But if that's too much, just do it 3 times. You do it 7 times. Do it a number that feels right to you. You can just do it when you wake up in bed a couple of times. The importance is that you don't do it mechanically. It's like, no, you're not doing it. Just get up, take a shower when you're ready, when you're ready to go inwards and focus on your health, on your personality, on your cells. Go deep into your essence. And once you've memorized the mantra, let's say it's the first mantra, let's say it's the first shloka, then you begin. And as you're saying it, you're visualizing it vibrating in your body. You're visualizing a light coming from your heart. You're visualizing it filling you. And that vibration is made for you and you only, right? This is your ascendant, your chart. Om Vishvam Vishnurvashatkaro Bhuta Bhavyam Bhavat Prabhu Bhuta Krin Bhuta Brahmbhavo Bhutatma Bhuta Bhavanaha. And do it again as many times as feels right to you. Again, you can do it 9 times if you want. So the most important one, the one for your ascendant. The second most important one, arguably, usually, is the one for your 7th cusp. Now notice I'm not doing planets here. Why am I not doing planets? If you're born on any given day, your moon is in a particular place. And guess what? It's in the same place for everybody born that day on the planet. So if you're David Gilmour and you're born on a particular date, right? You've got your moon somewhere. I should pull up David Gilmour's chart. but so does everyone else. But not everyone is David Gilmour, right? So what makes you special and different is your ascendant. I'm not saying you can't do or you shouldn't do the mantras for your moon, sun, Lagna Lord, Dasha Lord. In fact, you can. I'm saying they're secondary and tertiary to the cusps. Okay, so this is the little juice, hopefully, that makes a difference for you, because the cusp is what makes you you. All right. Everyone born on the day you were born, and I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of people, have the same moon as you, same Navamsha. In fact, probably a day, and the sun, well, forget it. The sun stays in a Navamsha for 3 days. If it's Jupiter or Saturn, even longer. So we're starting with your ascendant. Next, go to your seventh cusp. So in this case, the seventh cusp will be at 8 degrees 43 minutes of Scorpio. So which Navamsha is that? Well, walk with me here. There are 9 in Aries. 9 and 9 is 18 through Taurus, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63. So 63 all the way through Libra. And now the 64th one will be up to 3 degrees. It's not bad. The 65th one will be up to 640. That's not bad. So it's the 66th shloka, which is from 640 to 10 degrees Scorpio. And that is the seventh cusp. So the 66th shloka, then, if we find that, would be the shloka for your relationships, improving, optimizing the dharma, artha, and kama of your relationship experience. So here it is. Svaksha Svanga Shatanando Nandir Jyotir Ganeshwarah Vijitatma Vidheyatma Satkirtish Chinna Sanchayah. Okay, so this is the shloka for your seventh house. And the more you do this, watch. Do this deeply. Do this and connect with it. When you do, you will see, you know what Christians say about Jesus, that if you live by the book and you invoke Jesus' name, you have the power to banish evil spirits. But if you invoke his name, but you don't live the life, evil spirits laugh at you. You don't banish them, right? This is a Christian, part of Christian theology. Similarly, when you do any practice, if you're doing it correctly, you should see the fruit of it in your life. Maybe not that instant, maybe not that second, but in a few days, in a few weeks at the most. Invoking this mantra should improve your relationships to other people in general, but specifically your relationships to your significant other. And you can be sneaky about it. Don't let them know. If you have a significant other, don't tell them you're doing, or you could just tell them, I'm just doing a mantra. Do it and watch what happens. See what happens. See it, verify it in the crucible of your own experience. Okay? So the first one is for the ascendant. The second one is for the seventh cusp. Can you guess where I'm going next? Yes. Then you can go to the 10th cusp. The 10th cusp is called the MC. Now, this is not the equal house 10th cusp. Okay? So you will need to turn on what is the Placidus cusps. And in some locations, this may not be practical if you live very far north or very far south. But for this chart, the 10th cusp you can see would be 23 Capricorn, and the fourth is 23 Cancer. So the first and the seventh are always opposite, and the 10th and the fourth are always opposite. But you'll note that the first cusp degree is not the same as the 10th cusp degree. They're different. And if you have a software that only gives you the same degree, you won't actually have the MC. Now, the MC is optional, right? The important ones you want to do are the first and the seventh, because you fix yourself and you fix your relationship to other people, everything else should follow. Truly. But if you want to add the 10th cusp and then the fourth cusp, you can. They are secondary and tertiary. I mean that. Also, if you want to start with the ascendant, then do the seventh cusp, and then add your moon, of course, do that. Especially, let's say you're running your moon or your moon dasha, or you might be running your sun dasha. You can add the shloka for the degree of the sun as a backup to your sun, right? So think about it like going on a trip. You want to make sure you're healthy, you've eaten, you're fueled up. First house. You want to make sure the people you're going with are all happy, healthy, and fueled up. Then you want to make sure the car itself, that the tires are full, right, and so forth. And that the road is clear and so forth. And that's what you do when you invoke the Shah Lord. But primary, in my opinion, is Lagna, secondary, seventh. Then you can go to the 10th and the fourth cusps. And you can do each one once. But I suspect that if you've practiced, because you want to practice it to a point where you've memorized it, right? You don't want to be always reading it. Reading it is fine. That's how everyone does it in the beginning. But eventually you'll memorize. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and potentially, right, 4 for each of the 4 cusps, and potentially 1 or 2 for the moon, and maybe you're the Shah Lord, maybe the Lugna Lord. It's up to you how you want to expand. You don't have to expand. But this is the technique. That's it. And don't do this to the point where you're just mumbling and falling asleep. Oh, no. It doesn't work. You have to be into it. You can do this when you're at the doctor's office, because if you're at the doctor's office, you're usually motivated. Something's wrong with you. So do the mantra for your ascendant. Right? Do it earnestly. You'll see you can do 100 repetitions easily. Or you're having trouble in your relationships, you're going to be motivated to do the 7th cusp. And you're going to be clean because you don't want to suffer anymore in your relationship. If you find yourself losing motivation, it's probably because you're not suffering enough in that area. So then either don't do it, let it fall off, and focus on the others, or find a time when you can focus, or just drink a little bit of coffee or pop some good dark chocolate, which is my preferred method, and rock and roll. Okay? Any questions, let me know, guys. I hope this technique was useful for you. And we will see you in the next one. Namo Namaha.